That's what it was. It was something on my eye. Hey, everybody. It was 3 young boys that was charged for an incident that happened in Miami. It was a SA charge. So y'all know what SA is. I'm not gonna say the exact word because you know when you're on the internet you can't say certain words or they'll flag your video or whatever. I think it was a 12, 13-year-old and a 15-year-old boy. I know at the time when I read up on it, the 15-year-old boy they was looking for, they hadn't got him yet, but they had done got a hold of the 12 and the 13-year-old boy that SA'd a 12-year-old little girl. She was on her way home, walking from a friend's house back home. And I guess apparently there's like this open park space or open spill out space with trees or whatever the case may be. It was alleged that these little boys lured her into this open field space and they SA'd her, right? So it's a girl from Miami that's trying to justify these little boys' actions. She got on the internet and she was like, oh, the little girl wasn't no virgin. The little girl, she was down with it. She just didn't want the other 2 to do nothing to her. She only wanted one to do something to her. She was telling the other ones no, but she wanted that one. And she didn't tell her mama when she got home. It was the lady upstairs that watched the activity take place. She the one exposed it to the little girl's stepdaddy, and that's how they end up finding out the girl got SA. So basically she's saying the little boys shouldn't be in jail because the little girl was a part of the activity and she was willing to do one but wasn't willing to do 2.
So Dorian, he don't give a fuck. He savage. So he like, shit, you been talking about you wanted to do this to me. You finna, do me like this. So I guess he got aggressive with her and she was like, oh no, I'm not finna do that. I'm not finna sleep with all of y'all. I'm only sleeping with him. So I guess whatever happened, while they was running the train on her, the lady who stayed upstairs must have on her way down to check her mail or, you get what I'm saying, drop her garbage or whatever. She seen them. Because how the building is made, where the lady who seen the kids is like right there. And the farm is right there. So you can look over her balcony and see everything was going on in the farm. So I guess she spotted them. So in the mix of her spotted them, she like, what y'all doing in there? So that's when she want to yell, y'all stop, y'all stop, y'all stop. But she went home. She never told her mama anything. Going on 2 days. She never told her mama anything. When the lady came to find out who daughter it was, she went and told the stepdaddy. So when the lady told the stepdaddy, that's when the little girl want to tell her mama. They dragged her from the park. They took her there and they raped her. I ain't justifying nothing. Let me tell you something. I ain't finna sit here and read y'all comment. I got on here to check her. If you gonna tell a story, tell a story the right way. Don't get on here trying to make it seem like my nephew on a run or for none of that. Because if he get direct 5-2, he already got a lawyer. But I know at the end of the day, your daughter ain't telling the truth. Your daughter only pressed the charges because you forcing her to press charges. Your daughter was never a virgin before she got touched.
But explain them putting rocks in her mouth, idiot. The girl that went live, that tried to say this girl was for that, the little girl was down with it. Explain why these little boys had to put rocks in her mouth to keep her quiet. Make it make sense. You know what? We got a lot of idiots out here. And I understand, sometimes you got women that be biased because they raising boys. And when they raising boys, they put themselves in the shoes of the mothers of the boys. But at the end of the day, you need to be a civilized observer. Even if you say this little girl was down with it, which is absurd to me. Because if she was down with it, why would they have to fill up her mouth with rocks to keep her from screaming? Or to keep her quiet, especially if you say she's not a virgin. If you say she's not a virgin, they wasn't stopping her for pain. They were stopping her from screaming and alerting anybody's attention so they could finish doing what they was doing. And they heard the little girl daddy screaming out for her, calling out her name. And that's when they dispersed. That's when they cleared it, because the little girl daddy was looking for her. But it was a neighbor upstairs that bear witness to what was going on in that field. And even if that little girl didn't tell, you don't know if she was traumatized why she didn't tell. A lot of people like to say victims, if the victim is a victim, why didn't they speak up? Sometimes when people are in distress, no matter the age, when they are attacked, sometimes they have to let it come to their head. Sometimes it gotta register what just happened to them. And not only that, she's a 12-year-old little girl. First thing comes to a child mind when something like that happens is embarrassment. So for this lady, this young lady from over town, whoever she is, that's going viral, that they sharing on all these blog platforms, she is a complete idiot. She is a complete idiot. Because anytime somebody has to take the initiative to seal up somebody's mouth while they're taking a heinous act or committing a heinous act, and they got to put rocks in somebody's mouth, that means you're trying to cover your tracks. That means you're trying to stop somebody from yelling for help because you're doing something you ain't got no business doing. So I don't even know what she was thinking when she made this video to say this girl wasn't a virgin. She was in on it. She was down with it. She didn't tell her mama. We got a lot of idiots as adults that really need their social media platforms taken away from them. They need their phones garnished from them, because when they get online, they say the most stupidest stuff. They say the most stupidest stuff. Because they be going off a hearsay. You know what I'm saying? First of all, once the report came in saying this little young girl was at her friend girl house, and she was walking away from her friend, walking home by herself from her friend girl house, and was approached by 3 teenage boys, and they lured her in a field. If she was down with something and she was okay with it, they wouldn't have had to put rocks in her mouth. They wouldn't have had to put rocks in her mouth. And that's the only thing that stands out amongst everything. It's how you act out on a situation. If there was no rocks involved, it would have been questionable. Like, okay, it's a possibility, because young girls are fast. You know, you got young girls out here that's fast. There's a possibility. But once you say you stuff a young girl's mouth with rocks, that right there, it tells a whole story itself. And I need this young lady that's on her platform, that's trying to make this girl an associate in agreement with her attackers. Because, see, people believe that attackers can't come in all ages. Attackers could come in all ages. So for you to sit there and be like, oh, she was with the little boys and this and that. Sometimes people need to be quiet, observe, analyze situations before they speak. Because at the end of the day, we know it's 2 sides to every story. But once you pay attention to the actions people take, it'll tell a story in itself. Nobody wants kids to go to jail. Nobody wants kids to suffer. But if you do the crime, you must do the time. If you out here attacking little girls, no matter what your age is, who you are, it's nowhere in the world you can get sympathy behind a heinous act like that, when you initially heard this young girl say no. The lady upstairs, a witness, an older lady, witnessed what was going on in that field. She didn't know who the little girl was. So along the way, later on, she found out who the little girl was. And I think she found out like maybe 2 or 3 days later. And she let the stepdaddy know what took place. The little girl didn't go home and she didn't tell. A lot of people thought, oh, she didn't tell because she was in on it. No. Sometimes people be embarrassed. Sometimes people have to register what just happened to them. Some little girls think they gonna get in trouble for seeking help. Because there's a lot of stories where little girls go and try to get help from adults and adults don't believe them. So it's according to what was going on in this little girl mind at the time, why she didn't tell immediately they attacked her. You don't know what she was going through, because that is a traumatizing situation. That's enough to mess somebody's head up along the way. Girl, you don't never need to go live and talk about no situation dealing with a heinous crime saying, oh, she was with it. She wasn't no virgin. And so what? You mean to tell me because a person is not a virgin, she deserved to get SA'd? She deserved to be attacked? Because she ain't no virgin? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. And this happened in Miami, y'all. This took place in Miami. And the three little boys, one is 12, one is 13, one is 15. When I read up on the story, they was looking for the 15-year-old, but they had already got the 12 and the 13-year-old boy. And then the lady say, oh, once they exposed everything, that's when she wanted to tell her mama that she was attacking this and that. I'm just saying, I'm just sticking to facts. And no, you ain't sticking to facts. You left out the fact that this girl's mouth was stuffed with rocks. You left out the fact this girl's mouth was stuffed with rocks. That don't sound like somebody that was going along with the program. That don't sound like somebody in agreement with being SA. That sounds like somebody being attacked. Because what's the purpose of the rocks? Anybody in here from Miami, y'all read up on the story? Y'all saw that story? Because that was so disturbing when I saw this lady going viral trying to make this little girl out to be a SLUT. Down with the cause. It really pissed me off listening to her ass sit in her room just dragging this little girl. And it really upsets me when it's my hometown and I hear somebody taking on a platform and they sounding like a Neanderthal. They sounding stupid. So at the end of the day, I don't think young folks have to learn behavior. Sometimes it's just in people to do wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because the first thing you say is the parent taught this person, but the parent could be doing the best they can with their kids. You know what I'm saying? You got people like parents of Jeffrey Dahmer that ain't never take nobody life, but here it is, Jeffrey Dahmer did it. I don't think it's the parent. I think it's the activity of the child. And sometimes these people be seeing that their kids are disturbed. When you start seeing kids taking on strange activity, and you ignore it, you just as guilty because you ignore it. Because you see little things. You see little things taking them. And it ain't the first time you done heard them do something similar to something like that. But you don't put a stop to it because in your mind, my kid is good. But I think once you start seeing signs like that, you need to step up. You need to step up. Because a lot of these parents be working 2 jobs, long hours. In the streets be raising the kids. For those of y'all that wasn't raised in the inner city, I was raised in the inner city. So I know how it is when you have a parent that have to work them long hours because the money ain't really adding up to what the bill is really adding up. So they taking on 2 jobs and you basically raising yourself and take care of yourself at the home because they're trying to keep a roof over everybody's head. So at the end of the day, when these kids be out here in these streets running reckless, they basically moving off of their own beat. They moving off of their own beat. And I know as parents, we quick to say our kids won't do that. Or our kids ain't. And then 9 out of 10, them be the ones. And I'm just taking the time out because I'm praying for the little girl in the situation. And I'm also praying for the family with these little boys in the situation. But I do believe they should be held accountable. Accountability is important. I do believe they need to be held accountable if they going around luring little 12-year-olds in open spaces and filling their mouth up with rocks and taking advantage of them.